I mean, it's kind of the goal, actually. There's that. Let's go back to using backgrounds too. You can go live on Insta. More. Create your space. Shit. Just a quick reminder, if you are watching on Twitter and you want to join the conversation, you can switch over to the Twitter Spaces version and just raise your hand, and I can connect you that way. Pretty cool feature. Because we're actually on the same account broadcasting to both. Backgrounds. There we go. 8647. Very key. Well, I sent some notes to myself on Facebook. So as soon as I go on. Notes. I don't understand Hassan Abi. Oh, for God's sake. I hate this. It takes you to that Meta Business Suite bullshit. I just want my goddamn chat. Oh, so it's just such a pain in the balls. There we go. All right. Open letter to T-Rump. And we'll get to that in the second hour. I like it. It's a good message. I think it's a good rallying point for the rest of us. And it's a necessary statement. I mean, if you don't agree with this, like I said, when I kind of rebranded, when I rebranded this season, I'm still multitasking. Give me a second. Almost there. When I rebranded this season, I changed the color scheme and the font of the letters for up the middle. And I went from purple, which is what you get when you cross blue and red, to black and white. The reason I did that is because it's black and white. There's no more political ideology with this administration. It's black and white. Either you are still for this asshole, or you're an actual patriot. And you know you know how I feel about people that use that word in there. Hey, Chaser. Shout out to whoever that was that just joined in Instagram. You know how I feel about people that put Patriot in their social media profile. If that's where you got to put it, sorry, I got a video card instead of OBS. So if I get rid of Restream, what's managing the video feed, that'll be replaced with OBS, which I've been using forever. However, I've been using that forever because that's what's capturing the video from my camera and sends it where it needs to go, such as OBS. So I can't use it for both, which means I've got to use something else to capture the video coming in from the camera. This system has NVIDIA video cards built in, so I can use that. I just don't know how to do it. And OBS, for as technical as it is, was actually easier to learn. So, Mixxx shit the bed. I brought the suggestions from the AI research that I did. Rocket Broadcaster won out for my radio transmissions. And I've got 3 of my primary stations on there right now: Yerg's Radio, Dare Talk Radio, and Radio X. And from what I understand, Scotty takes one of those 2 Australian feeds and uses that to go to the remainder of his other stations. So I don't need to be able to broadcast to the others. They're all music. I don't do music except me on this show, on that station right now. And so if he's got another setup to make that happen, that's better for him because it's more control that he has and less that I can screw up like I've been doing all week. So the new Media CP has the potential to broadcast instead of Restream. It has the potential to broadcast to an unlimited number of destinations, which include the audio going to Icecast protocols, like Yerg's Radio and all of the others at Media CP or at Dare Media. So now I don't have to try to figure out why Mixxx crashed. And when I say crashed, well, I mean, it died. It crashes every time I try to start it. The control panel comes up for literally 2 seconds and it goes away. And I'm like, that's not going to work. So, like I said, I did a search through AI, putting in my situation, and it recommended Rocket Broadcaster. Rocket Broadcaster is also free, unless you want the features, like being able to stream to multiple destinations, like I do, like every show on my network does. So I had to drop $100 for Rocket Broadcaster to get the extra features, which I'm now using. I'm thinking that I may just keep it, let it live in the background, and as an emergency. Like today, I'm not using the Media CP because with the vet visit before this and trying to get to the right Dunkin' Donuts to get the kids pup cups and me coffee, espresso today. Yeah, that's a whole thing of espresso. You can imagine what my blood pressure is going to be like at lunchtime. I didn't make it back in enough time. I got back like a little bit before 10, but until I finally convinced the dogs to not want to play and to go lay down without, cause I'm not going to yell at them about something like that. And yeah, I will play with them for a little bit. That's what a good dog dad does. Wow. Say that fast. That's what a good dog dad does. And so I'm rushed as usual to get on here, but we're ready. So that's the update on all of that. Media CP is a really solid system. Reeve did an amazing job, and if Reeve and or Matthew are listening for Media CP, did an amazing job sharing with me on what I need to do. Worked with my patients very well. He even video recorded the last part of it, the video, how to add the video, because of the hour session, we only spent like the last 15 minutes on that. And, with not being in till I was in college, when I learned I got a learning disability and I need to learn this shit, or I need to practice this shit multiple times before I actually learn it. Welcome to my world. So now I got something to refer back to. I'm going to put in just have a look at or listen to some of the channels just to make sure what's going out actually does sound good. Scotty and I and Sportcat a little bit. So there's this. So that's Jurg's radio. I'm wondering if that's not in stereo, or if it is in stereo, and that's the problem. Oh, that's part of the problem is that is it is, and it's only coming in on left. So let's see if I can. It's actually so hopefully that's gonna fix shit. Check 1 2. There's a certain level of echo, and I think because part of it is I was in stereo, but this wasn't feeding to stereo, so it was only feeding like the left side. And I'm not going to try to refresh or anything like that because I'm not gonna take the time for that. We got too many people trying to actually pay attention. See, we're on. There's Instagram. There is Twitter Spaces. There's Discord. You can always also join in Discord. That one sounds great. But what made me laugh about the Jurg's radio setup is I was the whole way that I learned. Shit, I do got to. Okay. Applied changes to my stream, so I've got to restart that if I want to put it to use. I might for a second. That's already on mono, so that's good. That's why you hear me in both speakers, is if it's on mono. And Radio X is as well. Good. Okay. So that's why you hear me on both speakers, is if it's on mono. And if you're not, then there's still got to be something coming out of the other speaker, your other earbud. So that's why there might be some static sounding too. I want to see what Dare Media looks like. or sounds like, actually. Um, I don't even know which one I'm listening to. Oh, okay, that's Radio X. Okay. So here's Radio X. Moment of truth. God damn, that sounds good. Um, so I hope UG Media we were having issues with. I can't seem to get that. Whatever I had set up isn't carrying over. So I also want to see if they're getting us right now because they're sometimes just off the feed. So they might be getting us anyway. Here's hoping. It's not even loading. No, that's got some death metal shit going on there. Well, okay, we'll get that fixed. You know what? While I'm here, let's see what DNR Studios sounds like today, if it's sounding at all. Why do they gotta do this shit in alphabetical order? I'm always at the back. All right. Okay, so it is at least up to date, so that's good. It's got the Media CP feed, and so that's solid. Um, all right, so uh, I'm debating, how long would it take to just shut off and turn back on? But there's something about, all right, just do it. Don't go away. I will be right back. All right. Well, that was fast. Holy shit. Now, see what we sound like on Yerg's radio and uh, and DNR. Moment of truth. Here it is. So there's one thing I think I know where it sounds so much better. It's in stereo now. It's actually in mono, but you're actually hearing it in both speakers, so that's key. All right. Good. Good, good, good. There's that. Now, back to Yerg's radio. Listening via Chrome, which switches over to the Mastiff Media page, or to Mastiff Yerg's radio page on Mastiff Media. And how do we sound? A little bit of a delay. Good stuff. All right. All right. That sounds good. What else can we do? God. So, because it's just me, and because I think the other thing is because of being an intelligence officer of sorts, being a special agent in the Secret Service, and having been an intelligence officer as a result, sort of, kind of. one of the things I do and have always done. Where are the phones? There it is. Yeah, get the phone lines ready. You might want to talk today. Or you might want to call today. We're going to be talking about T-Rump. Superfan Ken's there on Twitch and on Discord. Good morning, buddy. Twitch works on Media CP, by the way. So that's going to be one of the transitioned over destinations. I got to figure out things like Rumble, DLive. What are the other destinations? Tumblr, or not Tumblr, Telegram. I like being on that. So, yeah, I one of the things I was able to do in this meeting yesterday, in the training session yesterday with Reeve and Media CP, I made all kinds of suggestions that he's kind of nodding at, like, yeah, we've been getting that. XNB says, what? Not another tech support today? No, actually, we seem to be doing pretty good today. It actually worked. I mean, being up till 2 a.m. yesterday and getting up at 7:30 this morning. I mean, 2 a.m. last night, today, and getting up at 7:30 this morning seems to be paying off. But yeah, it's happening. Thanks for your support. Thanks for your patience. So shout out to on Rumble, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Faceplace, DLive. So Rumble, DLive, and YouTube has some attitude. I couldn't get to that working on Media CP, but it's there and there's a setup. So there's got to be a way. I'm pretty sure the error is between the chair and the keyboard. I'm not going to lose Rumble. I can't call this show up the middle and only broadcast to certain progressive platforms. I want to be able to reach as many demographics as possible. So, yeah, what I'm going to do is say, here are the other destinations that I need to be able to go to, either with a custom RTMP, or you need to set it up so that all I got to do is check the box, like Facebook, YouTube, and there's some Twitch is another one that they've got the automatic stuff. I can log in remotely without actually going to those platforms, and then it connects me. I'll be able to broadcast. And I did it last night. I was on most of my Facebook pages. Some I actually, and I knew this was going to happen, some of them I actually needed to refresh, which I'll do later. But just the fact that I can go with one transmission from OBS to Media CP, and Media CP sends it out to those platforms. First of all, that's a lot less space on my own PC here. And secondly, again, then, when Trump does come after me, especially after today's show, he's not going to be able to find me because I don't even know where I'm at. The servers that I have set up are with multiple companies. They're redundant. And so when one does go down, so what? There's another one waiting to take it over. Yeah, I've been watching this. If you want a bait topic, Maybe something like MTG, now more left than AOC. I mean, who would have thought they'd see this day when Marjorie Taylor Greene goes anti-Trump? I think she's seeing some writing on the wall because I think he's a retired general that's actually running against her, who I will still support. You've done your damage, Madge, and hopefully your day is going to come to an end. XNB also says, if you don't want it to count as a tech support day, smart ass. He says, if you don't want to talk about tech support day, you should stop talking about tech support stuff. Yeah, well, I'm going to toot my own horn because you know me, and everybody else that listens knows me, knows that checking my email kicks my ass. And so that I've been able to not only accomplish all this tech shit and get stuff to work, but I'm learning it. I'm understanding it. That is huge. So yeah, you're goddamn right I'm going to talk about it. Ken says MTG and Laura Loomer have been warring with each other. I didn't know that. Some other talking head, a progressive one, I actually reached out to him to possibly join us here and put him on Forward Radio. Let me see. I'll pull up that. I got a spreadsheet for prospective on-air talent. Yeah. Keith Edwards has called out Laura Loomer for calling Lindsey Graham gay. And I'm like, bitch, please. If you didn't know that Lindsey Graham was a mo, I can't help you. XNB says, believe it or not, I actually think people are going to side with letting injured children receive surgery and stopping child sex predators fleeing from fleeing, not Trump. No, I don't think so. Look at all the shit he's pulled in Trump 1.0. The intelligence community let it leak that he won in 2016 because of Russia. Because my former department, Homeland Security, secured the 2020 election as they should have and made it a free and fair election, he lost. That pissed him off. Biden presumed it was going to remain free and fair. And in comes a tech guy like Elon Musk with the capability of fucking up those machines, which I believe he did. Look at the numbers in Pennsylvania and how they skyrocketed into Trump's favor immediately after the bomb scare. How are you going to get that many votes tabulated when, one, no one's voting, and two, no one's counting? Nobody thought that might be a little odd? Mark, look, I've been right about everything except the 2024 election, and now we know why that is. I said we're going to become an autocracy. We are. There are 10 steps. And by the way, tune in tonight to The Point with Travis Evans on Trapdoor Media, the Facebook page, Trapdoor Media. I'll be there at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific, as one of the regular panelists. It's Travis's show. I just show up every so many weeks and, add my 2 cents. I've got two people that I've suggested to him. One apparently he has already reached out to. That's you, Superfan Ken. I think you would be a great addition. And not necessarily a regular if you don't have the schedule for it, but an occasional, and maybe on weeks I can't be there. And then my buddy Corey Lewis, who used to be the host of Your Two Dads podcast. And they repurposed those episodes on Yerg's Radio. Really good podcast. It was actually 3 veterans who are also new dads came together, and usually 2 out of the 3 would be able to get together. So they called it Your Two Dads podcast and just talked about, being new dads. So I'm trying to bring him back because I know he really enjoyed it. The other 2 guys are the ones that really kind of bagged on him. And so I know that's something that he would really enjoy. If not that, and or working at one of the stations with Mastiff Media. He doesn't want to do his own show, and I get that. He just doesn't want to get into that much work yet. But I think if I can get him, like, and my friend Corey, that is, editing the news on Shady News Radio, that's going to get him back into it and just have something to look forward to and feel good about. I need to pull up some of the next tabs because I didn't get a chance to prep that today. So as you know, Vladimir Zelenskyy was in D.C. yesterday. And apparently it was pretty much a waste because, like I said yesterday, Putin bitch slapped Trump and used him as a cum rag. I don't know. I don't know what Trump thought was going to happen. Back to some of the election stuff here before we get into it. They sided with Trump 1.0 because your former colleagues are full of shit. I don't know what that means. Because it wasn't voters that sided with Trump 1.0. I know you think that, but yeah, no. No, that was 2024 was rigged, as was 2016. That's the projection that this asshat does. And I'm not talking about you, XNB. I'm talking about Trump. I'm not calling you an asshat. Don't know you that well yet. You'll probably be an asshat someday, but just not yet. 2024 was lost because it wasn't secured the same way that 2020 was. A lot was taken for granted. And that's what happens when you become complacent. More like a kakistocracy than an autocracy. Well, it's not a democracy. And I don't care what the hell you call it. It's not the Democratic Republic that we're supposed to be. The end. There are, and this is what I was getting into with when I was talking about Travis's show tonight. I am managing this video. I'm going to play it today. I just got to dig it up. I'm managing this video for tonight's feed. Oh, wrong one. I'm managing a video for tonight's feed. And we're going to watch this video. And it's, I gotta pull it up because I'm forgetting the name. Jay, Mastiff, Ken, Mark, Amy, Corey, Scott, Matt, David. There it is. Did he not send it to me here? Okay, that's not it. So he must have texted it. I think he did. I'll just forward to myself like I always do. Where the hell did he go now? There we go. Yeah, this is it. Copy. Send it to myself. Paste. Go. Okay, there it is. All right. So watch this video. And this is why we're going to do, why I have ready and why that's next. An open letter to Donald Trump calling him out for his bullshit. That is our job. That is the First Amendment. And that's why it's the First Amendment, not the 12th. Because of all of the amendments that create the Bill of Rights, it is the most important aspect and the most important element that's going to keep us as a democratic republic. And one of those four elements has failed us miserably. And that's why we, the independent journalists, need to step up. Because the legacy journalists have failed us all. That one there. And we'll see how that looks in a minute. But let's watch this video. We're going to talk about this later tonight in Travis's show. But I wanted to show you this is pretty much why it's a requirement for me and you to express your feelings when necessary. I'm not going to tell you when to bitch at Donald Trump. That's for you to decide. But here's one of the reasons why I am. All right. So, free and fair-ish election was 2016 or 2024. But we're having another one coming up in 2026. And that's why also in the second hour, we're going to give an update on the Texas Dems that walked out about a month ago and refused to take part in the special session of the Texas legislature for the sole purpose of gerrymandering districts, creating 5 new Republican districts. So when we talk here about free and fair elections, I mean, even that is a gray area. Okay. Dude did that literally on day one. But he also did it in 1.0 with the help of sheep like Lindsey Graham. No, Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell was the bitch there when, towards the end of the Obama administration, there was the opportunity to investigate or to interview, to have a hearing on Trump's or Obama's Supreme Court selection. I can picture him. I'm brain farting on what his name is, but Merrick Garland. But Beaker, Google Beaker from the Muppets, and you'll get the joke. Bitch McConnell refused to hold a vote on Merrick Garland because it was the end of the Obama administration, and we should wait until the results of the election. You know, the election he also knew Trump was going to win because he was also made aware of the collusion with Russia. So there's one justice of the three that Trump eventually gets. Fast forward to the end of Trump 1.0, when bitch McConnell made that same call. Oh, it's the end of an administration. We better hurry this one up and get this pushed through. Instead of waiting for the next president like he did the last time, this time, he got Trump the third of 9 Supreme Court justices under his appointment. Not only that, it secured a conservative majority, which is fine. If that's how things roll, that's how things roll. But when you pull shit like this, bitch, I'm not going to call him senator, because that is a title that should be returned to respect. I'm going to call him what he is. Bitch McConnell. And so if he would have kept that consistency, he would have not let his own Republican president get the third nomination. Of course, I don't see that happening. But then you do what's right the first time and get that last nomination for Obama. So that's one thing. The other thing that I don't understand why people aren't pissed about or asking questions about. All these members of Congress who have been openly against Trump. And that's normal. Not every president agrees with all of the members of his party in Congress. That's happened. And that's healthy. So now all these Republican congressmen and senators and whoever are motherfucking Trump 1 minute, get invited to a lunch at Mar-a-Lago. Kevin McCarthy, Lindsey Graham, other Republicans, Mike Johnson, all of whom leave Mar-a-Lago thinking Trump's the shit. When in all actuality, that's exactly what he is. Just smell his pants. So it's about establishing control through relatively legal means. However, what she's talking about things like executive orders and just military that he does not have the authority to do, but does it anyway. Because seriously, who's going to stop him? The courts made their decision. Now enforce it. When you have a president and vice president who just blatantly say that before they're even president and vice president, like Trump and J.D. Vance did, how do you people that call yourselves conservatives think that's okay? How do you call yourself an American and think an attitude like that within your president and vice president is okay? You're a pathetic sheep. And believe me, there's a letter coming to you people too. What I'm doing with all of these various sections, instead of making a 2-hour podcast episode like the radio show is, the show gets cut up into segments. The tech update was one segment. Zelenskyy and other DC updates like this is another segment. And as soon as I finish this in the next 10 minutes or so, we're going to get into the letter. Actually, I got to do Ghislaine Maxwell. That'll be it. Oh, I gotta stop with the coffee. That'll be a segment. The letter to Trump will be a segment. The Texas Dems will be a segment, so on and so forth. But the letter to Trump, as a separate episode, is going to be sent to the White House. And I'm sending it to CNN and to all other places that this has got to go to get the attention that it needs to get the ball rolling. Sure, there will probably be a knock at my door. Fuck them. All right. Let's see what Stacey Abrams has with this and the other 8. Yeah, that's what we just talked about. The Supreme Court, I don't know why we even call it Supreme anymore. The Soup Court, because it's a soup. And then Congress. That's what she's going to talk about next. Hello? The guy is suing just for he doesn't like him. And he knows he's going to lose. He said it. But he's going to force them to spend the money and capitulate. Truth Social. And instead of it being a post, did you know this? This is how pathetic that platform is. Instead of it being a post or a tweet or whatever, it's a truth. That's what they call it. I mean, do you appreciate and can you see the irony? and just how pathetic it is when we talk about things like projection and legitimization when you legitimize, you talk yourself into it. You know something's wrong, but you create an excuse for it to be right. That and the projection. Stop the steal, while he turns around and steals other elections. That kind of thing. I mean, do we even have to talk about that? Doge did absolutely nothing, but spent more money than what would have been spent, and didn't gut anything that was waste, fraud, or abuse. It gutted regulatory agencies that were doing things like preserving the environment, defending the consumers. The Consumer Protection Bureau, gone. All because of executive orders and a ballless Congress who were too big of pussies to stop it. Oh, is that not language for radio? Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we create language for radio? By creating the proper atmosphere. Grow a set of balls, Johnson. Yeah, speaking of projection, Mike Johnson with a little dick and no balls. Mike Johnsonless. I mean, how can you be a conservative? Forget about if you're Republican or whatever. We all know that Republicans by name now are the Republicans in name only because they're really MAGA morons. They're the stupid ass sheep that follow this asshat and allow all these other ballless and dickless asshats to sit there and do nothing. How can you sit and listen to Stacey Abrams tell you what has happened in the past 6 months? But she's right. This is what an autocracy does to take control. Hitler did it. Mussolini did it. Both of whom were elected. They never whacked anybody and came into power, like a godfather. They were actually elected. But Erdogan right now in Turkey, Putin in Russia, who, by the way, doesn't like mail-in ballots. Have we heard that before? Recently? Yesterday? How does listening to this, knowing it's accurate, this isn't a projection. She's not seeing the future. She's showing you the past 6 months. How does it not piss you off? How does it not make you feel like a fool because you supported this guy? Because you're just as dickless and ballless as Congress is. I have been denied by FEMA 3 times in the past year to get support from Hurricane Helene. I am in a program right now called Elevate Florida. Probably only a matter of time before that gets shit canned. And I'm back to working on a construction site on my own. That's my former master bedroom on the other side of those studs, those exposed studs. in the wall behind me. That used to be a solid wall. My entire house looks like that and has since last October when my dad and I started gutting. No money from FEMA. Got gypped out of what I should have received from my insurance company. I'm not going to beg for it. Do we even have to listen to this part? Pete Hegseth. You go from a 4-star general or admiral, I forget what the guy who forgot to call in sick, but he didn't release anything classified to the media multiple times. He was never accused of rape. He was actually qualified for the rest of his position. What floored me, and I just heard this episode repeated. I don't know if it was on one of the Dare Media network stations or on mine, but I talked about the episode. I had nothing better to do the one night, and I turned into UG Media. And there was this Cuban, Puerto Rican, I don't know. Guy spoke very little English, in part because he didn't want to. In part, excuse me, I had to sneeze. In part because I think he was speaking all the English he had. And that's fine. But don't be supporting somebody who's trying to get rid of you. And that's why I continue to use Nazi Germany as an example. Because this is what's happening. Each of these demographics that Stacey Abrams is talking about is being targeted for a multitude of reasons. They're all murderers and rapists. Meanwhile, none of them are. They're all grooming your children. Meanwhile, it's literally his party that's grooming children for sex acts. And I'm not talking about Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein, although they are. I don't think we really know with what party they associate or associated, past tense for Epstein. But how many Republicans do we see watching porn in school board meetings, like that guy in Oklahoma? There's another one here in Florida that was just arrested, again with this. But the drag queens, they're the problem. And each of these individual groups is going to continue to be eliminated or disenfranchised enough so that they don't have the voice like we're using right now. Until there's nobody left. That is exactly what happened in Nazi Germany. He started eating his own people because it's all he had. His hate grew so heavy that even he couldn't stop it. The guy vying to be as was his goal. Let's be clear about this. Hitler was trying to become the most powerful man in the world. And even with that title, self-installed though it may have been, even he couldn't stop his own hate. Trump says crime is soaring, and it's immigrants. The data tells another story. Yeah, they're called facts. The actual facts don't match his bullshit. But when it legitimizes your hate, then it's okay. Because that's all it is. What have I been talking about for the past 3 weeks or more? ICE agents that are not ICE agents. I told you, they're not. That's not ICE. That's not what a federal agent looks like. That's not how they behave. That's not the tactics they use. None of that. Literally none of that. I'm trying to adjust this mic a second. Hold on one second. Literally none of that. Yet, there we all go thinking, that ICE, that ain't ICE. That's a bunch of hicks wearing police garb. That is the Oath Keepers. That's why you're not hearing anything about them, because you are hearing anything about them. You just don't know it's them. Stephen Miller has investments in the private prisons that are holding these so-called illegal immigrants. Meanwhile, who are we arresting? Actual American citizens. Let's not report about that, media, because he might come after us next. So what's happening? So this goes back to overextending authority. He activated the National Guard in California, specifically Los Angeles. To do that, one, there has to be an emergency. There wasn't. I've lived for 19, 20, 21, 3 years in LA, 4 in San Francisco. What we call, the rest of us here in the other 49 states, call a riot, and shit's bad, and oh my God, those 2 cities call block party. Seriously, when you have so many different cultures together, the opportunity, and so many people, the opportunity for the violence is going to exist. It's also happened in New York. It's happened in Philly. And for things like Black Lives Matters and George Floyd and some of the other, I'm trying to think of the one in like the Midwest, Arkansas, I think it was. It's a reason to be pissed off. And there will be, as always has been, to include incidents like the Proud Boys who stabbed people in D.C. when Biden beat Trump. There will be people who go too far. What's his name? Kyle Rittenhouse How he wasn't convicted, I this is why after a trial like that happens, you need to release all of the information so we can see what the jury saw. He has his mommy drive him with with a loaded weapon across state lines. That's a violation. You can't cross state lines with a loaded weapon without having certain federal FFLs, federal firearms license. An 18-year-old boy doesn't have that. But it was self-defense. Okay. Bring it. T-Rump, I'm going to make you my bitch. This is his next step, why he wants to take away mail-in ballots. Why he wants to use these watermark ballots. You know there's no such thing as that, right? You're that smart? Say yes, at least lie to me, because if you're a Trump supporter, you're good at doing that anyway. You've been lying to yourself this whole time. Yeah, there's no such thing as watermark ballots, which is what he's been suggesting. And by the way, mail-in ballots are used because we don't have enough people to man the voting stations, the voting locations. We don't have enough machinery to stock enough voting locations. And so those that we do have are in the areas that can afford it. High dollar Republican neighborhoods. See how this works? It's legal. I got to use the air quotes and not smack my microphone. It's legal. We put that in quotes because there is without question, just like the gerrymandering, which should not be done on either side. Although I applaud Gavin Newsom for showing a set of balls and saying, you know what? We tried to be nice. Nice doesn't work against fascist, evil assholes. So I'm not going to listen to this guy. I don't care about him. But that was Stacey Abrams, former member of Congress, I think from Georgia. Go back and there we go. Founder, American Pride, Rises Network, former Georgia state representative. So she was in the Georgia legislature. So those are the points we're going to be talking about tonight on The Point with Travis Evans, and then we're going to listen to this guy talk too. That's up to Travis. I'm just pressing play for the guy. But I wanted to make those points now because this is the reason why after letter number 1 to the independent media saying, hey, come to us here at Mastiff Media, we can help you. We can protect your brand. Letter number 2, today's, is to Trump himself. We're getting this over with, and we're going right to him. Because as you'll see, any other president has said the buck stops with me. Trump's too big of a pussy to take on that responsibility. All right, I got to take a break. When we come back, we'll get into hour number 2. We'll be halfway through hour number 2, and we'll finally get into my open letter to Donald Trump. This is Up the Middle on the Mastiff Media Network. We'll be back after these words.
What are you doing later? I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to the gym, but not just any gym. Momentum Fitness and Wellness. Walk right up to the door. There's a QR code on the door. You can sign up right there. You've got no excuse. But not only that, their equipment is amazing. It's kept up well. It's expanded. There's stretching area. There's CrossFit. There's hardcore training. A dedicated area for stretching. Dunk tanks. Sauna. Everything you need to get that Hernando beach body or keep your Clearwater beach body. You can train with your shirt off. You can scream. You can yell. And you won't be intimidated either. Go to Momentum Fitness and Wellness on US 19 in Bayonet Point, Jasmine Estates. Build the momentum at Momentum Fitness and Wellness.
Daily Crypto News. 5 days a week. Learn about crypto, blockchain, day trading. From our very own Matt Deemer, co-host of Friday Fights. We missed him this past Friday, but he'll be back. Makes for good Fridays. But make it good every day. Listen to the Daily Crypto News, available here on the Mastiff Media Network, particularly on Shady News Radio, but also by going to dailycryptonews.net or wherever you get your podcasts. Daily Crypto News with Matt Deemer on the Mastiff Media Network and dailycryptonews.net. So, my open letter to T-Rump is because my whole life I got to pull this up here. Give me a second. I got to kind of talk and pretend I know what I'm doing until I get this. My whole life has been observation, learning by watching others, but also from my own mistakes, but also the mistakes of others. What I mean by that is when I see my two brothers, for example, find one reason, at least overtly, one reason to support somebody like Donald Trump. And that's all they need. And I watch these people fail to see the bigger picture. I didn't like Kamala Harris. I met her. She's a nice lady. But for president, I didn't like her. I didn't like her in the primaries in 2020. I didn't like her as a vice presidential choice. I didn't like her in 2024. But in 2024, I'll tell you what I liked about her. I was going to get to vote for somebody else in 2028. We can't say that now, Donald. And you know it. Gavin Newsom got Trump 2028 baseball hats or T-shirts or something like that sent to the governor's mansion or his office or wherever in California, in Sacramento. That's not a joke. Stop thinking this guy's poor actions is a joke. And Trump, stop thinking that those of us with a brain and a set of balls don't see it. We do. We're going to talk about we the people in a minute. But this starts with you, Donald. This starts with you. And if you want a positive legacy for your presidency, for what little you can recover, it can end with you too. You started as an inspiration to people in this country. You were from outside the political machine, outside the deep state. You are going to drain the swamp. You are the source of the shit of that swamp. And I'm not just talking about what comes out of your pants on an hourly basis. I'm talking about what you've done to the city of Washington and the country as a result. You created a movement. And I don't mean a bowel movement. You've created plenty of those. But you caused continued hope because 8 years of Barack Obama brought hope, positive change, and started you off with the best economy you've ever seen. You squandered that in right time, right fashion. But at least you had a good start. Somebody as usual used to having a silver spoon in their mouth is possibly accustomed to. For the average voter, MAGA meant something. And maybe those people weren't the most educated voters. Clearly, they weren't. But in the end, your money, or whatever money you thought you had, separated yourself from us, all of us. Those who did support you, and especially those of us who did not and do not. But the other thing that separated you was your perception of reality, or the perception of your reality, and what you think is happening on a daily basis, an actual history. Then you started off with the lies. They're all rapists and murderers. We got to get rid of all these brown people. Because, I mean, let's call it what it is. That was the problem. Not crime. Not anybody stealing jobs that white people don't want. But it's because they're brown. You legitimized hate. I know, because I beat your sorry ass. You don't know this. My listeners do. The Secret Service does, because that's who acted on your behalf. Twice during my career, I beat you like the bitch you are through your people, who you made think was okay to come after me, not because I did anything wrong. The first time I was supporting Hillary Clinton on a social media platform called Tumblr while I was working at that time, the operations center of the Washington field office. You did a nice job creating the fake account. My compliments to the naked, muscular gay men that you cluttered my account with. I wish I had access to it. But the problem is that I told the investigator, when you tried to get me violated for violating the Hatch Act, I said, ma'am, I don't know what Tumblr is. So I can promise you I don't have a Tumblr account. Turns out it's the even more porn-friendly version of Twitter. I didn't know that. So whoever you had populating that account during the time that I was working, well done. Because when the investigator showed me the pictures that were also in there, the pornographic gay men, like my field training officer in the police academy once said, I believe I feel slightly aroused. It was hot. So it makes me wonder, for whoever it was that felt comfortable actually making all those gay posts, how did they come to the process of selecting or not selecting certain men in photos when I created my Tumblr account? So now what the rest of you listening are trying to figure out, like, what the hell does this have to do with anything? Well, in that same account, there were certain pro-Hillary Clinton posts. Weren't there, Donald? And those posts were made while I was working at the Washington field office. But the other thing that convinced the investigator that it wasn't me that made the posts was that some of those posts were made at Hillary Clinton events throughout the city of Washington that I was post standing at. Here's the problem with that, Donald. The posts were made in real time. The picture of her speaking was taken while she was speaking, but then also posted immediately. I wasn't posted in the event room. So now what you're saying is that I left post to go get that photo and make whatever post it was. I don't remember. We're coming up on 10 years ago, 9 years ago. But I went and made that post while I was on post. Another violation, although just with the Secret Service. No. Because when the investigator went to get the recording of the radio, to hear me call out for relief so I could go get that photo instead of going to the bathroom, oh, we don't seem to have it. So, like me, the investigator called bullshit. Then that same election, when you and Hillary were both confronted by the intelligence community and briefed on the fact that there was inappropriate interest in the election coming from, let's call it what it is, the Soviet Union, you seem to have no interest in it. Well, why was that, Donald? Why didn't you want to talk about Rudy Giuliani illegally going to Russia? Oh, that's why. So now here comes your projection. When you get your ass handed to you in 2020, and rightfully so, oh, we got to stop the steal. After all that violence that you saw it in your heart to forgive, I'm wondering, with actual violence happening on January 6th of 2021, why didn't you send in the military then? If one city block in Los Angeles is so violent that you got to send in the military, why didn't you do it for, what is it, probably 8 square blocks that makes up the Capitol building and the property surrounding it, that immediate property surrounding it, not to mention the entire mall from Pennsylvania Avenue to Constitution, and from the White House to the Capitol? You didn't see any reason to send it there, did you? While you sat in a dining room for 3 hours, slobbering all over Fox News. And then 2024, the election, some pretty solid rumors are pointing to actually also being stolen. Not also as in addition to 2020, but also as in 2016. How long do you think it's going to be, Donald, before Elon Musk comes forward and admits what the world already knows? Are you going to pardon yourself? Do you think that's going to work? Because we, the people, don't like that idea. Then there's your policies, immigration, crime, the economy, and other promises like no wars and the end. You actually won a Nobel Peace Prize. For what? You suck, dude. I'm going to end that war in a day. Okay. Which one? Because the 190 days we've had so far, we haven't seen shit. Then there's this crazy-ass authoritarian wannabes, militaristic Nazi regime that you've created. And the illegal force and disregard for the Constitution that you once again make what used to be good people think is okay. Everybody has some hidden gem, some hidden seed, something that's going to set them off someday. You allow it to happen. The usual shit that you've got was the fertilizer these people needed. And now people claiming to be ICE agents, who are nothing more than Proud Boys and or Oath Keepers, or some likeness thereof. You should go back and find the videos I've done showing the poor tactics of federal agents. It is a miracle. Praise Jesus, a miracle that these people haven't killed anybody yet. Not to mention, especially each other. And that's not because of hate, it's because of incompetence. And it starts at the top. You broke your own MAGA base. I'm watching daily these people on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, whatever social platform, literally crying because they can't afford groceries. They can't afford their home, health insurance, car insurance, homeowners insurance, basic, very simple life expenses that aren't going anywhere. It's the cost that you, not if you're just doing something like, I want to go on vacation. Okay, well, that's extra. I want a second car. That's extra. Not only do I want high school, I want college and a grad degree. That's all extra. We're just talking about the stuff that you need to have to get up in the morning. And your supporters can't even do that. Here's what we didn't have, because I know by now you're thinking back to Biden, because you blame it's all his fault. Well, like Obama, Biden handed you another excellent economy. It proved that trickle-down economics doesn't work because people were still feeling it at the grocery store. Not quite as bad as now, but they were feeling it. What we didn't have under Biden were the same women that I just mentioned crying, regardless of who they support or don't support. But nobody was actually crying because they couldn't afford to buy groceries. Basic, simple groceries. Not even like a steak dinner. We're talking hamburger steak. Or anything even cheaper. We didn't have those people crying under Biden. We didn't have the instability of gas prices. Sure, right here, a mile away from my place, it was $3.20, $3.25 or $6 or so, give or take, at its highest point. And yet it was down close to $3 at its lowest. But it was there for a while. It gave us stability and the confidence in knowing when I leave and stop at the gas station on the way to wherever I'm going, I got an idea what that price is going to be. Congrats to you. You've had it down at this as the benchmark, this particular place close to my house, at or below $3 a gallon. Should be a little easier from the art of the deal from a Republican who's got all these oil companies in his back pocket, or says he does. But I have no idea what it is now. I've seen that price change 3 times in one day. That didn't happen under Biden. And I know that it's at about $3 a gallon right now because I was there earlier this morning. So I know after the show today, I'm going to run out, spend, buy about 5 gallons. So if I do it so many times a month, I get even more off at the end of the month. Something we have to do now because we have no idea what day of the week it's going to be back up to $3.25 or more, which has been happening. Not only overnight, but in broad daylight. That didn't happen under Biden. And most pathetic, what also didn't happen under Biden was the disrespect and our country being the laughingstock that it is because of you on the world stage. We had respect with Obama. We had love with Obama and Biden. The only thing people love about you is watching the first 15 minutes of a late night talk show every night, or the cold open of Saturday Night Live each week, to see what fuck up they're going to be talking about next. And that's the sad thing, isn't it? They tell a true story. As much as we try to make us laugh, and for as oftentimes as we actually do, fact is, it's a scary time. Not because anybody's afraid of you, but what your stupidity, ego, ignorance, and impotence could cause, is causing, and has caused. MAGA people up until now like to put on the back of their pickup truck, "We the people." Well, speaking of, I don't know if he's late night, I don't know exactly when he is, but speaking of talk show hosts, Jon Stewart once asked you the question, "You know there's more words to it than just that, right?" Well, here are some new ones. We the people have been betrayed. We the people know that we've been lied to. We the people live in both blue and red states. And we the people are pissed, and we're coming for you. Not in any way that needs to get the Secret Service all panties in a wad. Hey, third time's a charm, right? Yeah, good luck with that. I'm not going to waste my freedom saying something that's inappropriate or trying to do something that's going to get me, my family, or friends the collateral damage. But I am going to keep saying something, and I'm going to share it. And so will my listeners. So will all the super fans I'm developing. And someday, those people are going to share it too. Doesn't matter who I share it with. It's who they share it with. Because right now, we're in a time that the legacy media has failed us all. And this very First Amendment right that I'm exercising right now is coming into greater fruition. That means, Donald, that it's coming together with greater force. Because I know you don't understand what the first part was. But when you take the freedom to assemble, like my followers do, and practice their own faith, like my followers do, actual Christians, I know you don't know what that's like. And while they're together, they engage in free speech and the freedom of press, the independent press, which is what has really stepped up over the past 5 or so years, especially since you went and called something like COVID a hoax. You're a hoax, Donald. and you're a joke. So we, the people, are going to keep talking and keep redressing grievances like I've just done. Not until we finally are heard by the legacy media. We've counted them off a long time ago. But more importantly, until we're heard by each other and enough of the other people, new congressmen and senators, new justices on the Supreme Court, and new generals and admirals within our military and Navy who aren't afraid to stand up to somebody like you who's nothing more than a pussy. We know that. And the rest of the world will too. You've been up the middle.
Hey gang, it's Yergs, host of Up the Middle. With my university degrees in history and political science, and 21 years as a special agent in the U.S. Secret Service, I've lived what others can only talk about. Join me, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific, Monday through Friday, on Yergs Radio, Rainbow Radio, and Right Talk Radio. Up the Middle. Politics for the rest of us.
We've had our fun dancing around the former president's rather eccentric interpretations of our country's founding document. May I offer you something more explicit?
I only want to be a dictator for one day.
Just so you know, that is how it starts. I'm not saying anybody has to do the arms salute. Let's just start with a few people doing the arms salute, and we'll see if the arms salute catches on.
Cameo. That's right. I'm a big celebrity now. Yeah. I'm on Cameo. And if you want me to read you or do an open letter to you, or just to say hi, or send somebody an inspirational message, like an actually inspirational one, or a happy birthday, or good luck on a test, go to cameo.com. I forget what the actual, hold on a second. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Cameo.com /Yergs/book. And it's like $5 or $10. I know I'm not that big of a celebrity. Like what Kurt Warner, I think, just got signed on this past week or weekend or something like that. I started getting all the text messages. But yeah, it's fun. Have somebody send you a happy birthday. Good luck on the test. Good luck with the job interview. Anything like that. Go to cameo.com /Yergs/book, or depending on where you're watching, I got to get a tone tip for this too. Scan the QR code that's on your screen. It'll take you right there. Cameo.com. This lounge music, I usually use chill. This one's lounge music. It's a little porny. A little on the porn side. You're killing me, Trump. Got my Sandlot t-shirt on today. Let's I'm gonna wrap up with some of the comments because we're already I never even touched Ghislaine Maxwell or the Texas Dems. We'll get them tomorrow. I think tomorrow might be, I don't know, the next open letter to a community is to the law enforcement community. So I should probably get that one out before the Secret Service comes and visits me. But that's next. What's next? A puppy potty break. Because I also got to go. So I'll be right back. Continue. Let's see, where's it at? There we go. There we are. All right. Don't go away. We got comments and heads up on tomorrow. Right after this. All right, gang. Thanks for your patience. So, when does it wrap up in the 3 minutes I got? I wonder where Sportcat is. I should probably pull up chat just to see if he's there. Nothing recent. There he is. Let's see. There we go. Hey, man. You had me worried.
Well, dog wasn't cooperating.
I actually had to go drain my dog, too.
Yeah, she's like wanting out at the last minute. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I wasn't going to make it through the last 15 minutes of my show, so I had to go drain the espresso, let out the espresso.
Yeah, and then she woke me up at like 6 this morning wanting out. I'm like, what are you doing? Stop.
This is your mom's dog, I take it?
No, it's my dog. It's Ginger. I bring her with me everywhere. Well, not everywhere, but when I come up here.
I mean, didn't you also just lose one?
Yeah, that was Millie.
Millie. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Sorry again for that.
Oh, no worries. It was probably more of Beth's dog than mine, even though I rescued her, but traitor. So, all right. Well, you ready to give me the radio, or do you still have it, or what's going on?
I still got it, but I can turn it over to you. You ready?
Yeah, let's see. Hold on a second. Yeah, I'm ready.
Yep. There you go. We're off here.
All right. And it is green. And I'm going to check because the other day they said I wasn't connected. So I'm connected to Dare Talk and Radio X and, of course, to Yergs. So hello to everybody that's allowing me to tickle your ears. Daddy has control. So.
All right. It's all you.
All right, man. I will.
What's happening out there today?
Oh, well, I got some stories that not everybody's reporting on. So I got some surprise stories.
Always cool.
So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good.
So, yeah, well, you know, these prepper channels like to scare the shit out of everybody. So,
yeah,
not me. I like to tell the truth. So,
good for you.
Yeah.
Well, I just did that for about 30 minutes in my open letter to Donald Trump.
You think he's going to listen?
No,
well,
but
okay.
Maybe some others will. Maybe I'll get some more listeners.
I can tell you from a friend, he apparently has tuned in at some point in time, or somebody from his staff has tuned into you from some point in time. So
to me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't doubt it. Yeah. I had my right before Putin got here, I also had a spike of listeners from Russia.
Sweet.
So yeah, I thought that was cute.
All right. Well, all right, man. Well, let me get out of here. I'm going to pretend I got a show to do. We will talk to you tomorrow, or actually probably later today. So we'll catch you soon, brother.
All right, buddy. Have a good show.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
All right. Sportcat is up next. Go to @ParaOrNormalGuys on YouTube or search Sportcat shows on YouTube. I think you can search that too on Facebook also. I know he's there as well. But definitely, if you don't listen on Yerg's Radio or any of the other Mastiff Media Network channels, you can get them on Dare Media and also right over there. There you go. There you go. We got mics in the way. I got different shit happening. That's it. I think I need a break. Great show today, everybody. Thanks for joining in. You know what? For the video, I guess we can still go through some of the comments. Get caught up there. I think people are going. Let me see. I got to find out where we left off. Superfan Ken said that he can co-host The Point sometimes. I think that would be good. I think you'd be a good co-host for that, and I think they'd appreciate having you. Be as in a guest appearance from time to time. Yeah, doesn't have to be a usual thing. I know you got things going on, but yeah. So instead of bringing Travis on up the middle, which I'll do. I have no problem with that at all. But he and I talked about, and I think after today's letter to T-Rump and the other letters that are coming out this week and in the next couple of weeks, I think he's going to come back. The poor man will probably have a stroke. But I think we all know we can all do our part. No matter how small the show seems to be, it will get views. It will get shared. And that's what we got to keep pushing, is to share. Take that little arrow looking thing at the bottom of your screen and share it. Text it to somebody. Don't rely on Facebook, TikTok, who's already shadow banned me already, LinkedIn, who's kicked me off. Text it to somebody. Say, I think you'll be interested in this. I would like your opinion of it. And if it's something like the video that Ben Meiselas showed that's a little violent, let them know. Give them that heads up. Be fair. But we also need to be strong because the current system ain't working. Superfan Ken also, yeah, I like that one too. Used as a comrade comment, you almost tripped falling down. Well, I'd rather you fall down smoothly. At least that way you can catch yourself. Superfan Ken to the rescue with a definition for me. Kakistocracy is a government by the least suitable or competent citizens of a state. And that was going back to XNB's comment earlier. More like kakistocracy than autocracy, in large part thanks to U.S. quote-unquote intelligence. Okay, well, that makes sense. You'll learn something every day. Thanks to both of you for commenting, joining in. David, Simon, K. Folger, and Fonz Photography. Shout out to all of you over on LinkedIn. Hopefully you were here for the letter to T-Rump. Back to XNB. What's he got to say here? Israel certainly doesn't want smart politicians running its puppet state. Yeah. I mean, now Trump also, but Putin and Netanyahu, all war criminals, without question. Many journalists reported the truth. They were just suppressed by U.S. quote-unquote intelligence, all while using state-backed media to lie to the public. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Fox News, Truth Social. And when I see these people crying about their grocery bill, I think they're starting to realize, look, it's not easy to admit that you've been fooled. It's embarrassing. But what we as a community, not as the left, not as a blue state, what we as non-Trump supporting Americans have to do is reassure these people who are finally getting rid of Trump and finally getting off the Trump train, as actually so many people have done before them. Hey, Greg, good to see you on Instagram. We need to make them feel welcome. Now, I know this Greg, I doubt he's a Trump supporter, but when any of them shows up in your social media, acknowledge them and welcome them and let them know that regardless of what they think, say, or believe, that the space you're in now is a safe one. I don't care if you support Donald Trump. You just need to be able to tell me why. When you see all this shit, don't say he's the better candidate because he's better than Kamala Harris. Not in the long run, he's not. And not in the short one either. I mean, I still would have voted for Kamala Harris. I did. So now people get their politics from World of Warcraft players. I didn't know that. I don't know what you mean there. Are we talking about you or Superfan Ken? Yeah, Greg says, I didn't think so, but I'm not going to presume anything. Greg over on Instagram says, good to see you. Hell no. And that's referring to his support and lack thereof of Trump. Back to XNB here. I don't know what you're talking about with World of Warcraft. I know what that is. I lost an X, now X, to that game. But I don't know how people are getting their politics from that. That's news. So please elaborate on that. Super Van Ken says, stop drinking coffee. I need to do a segment on my stopping of drinking coffee. Huh? Yeah, maybe. What watermark ballot that has Trumpian ideals on it? I say no, ma'am, or sir. Yeah, so what people don't understand, they don't know, is that this watermark ballot that Trump is talking about doesn't exist. I'll tell you what he's talking about. He's talking about a pre-completed ballot that's for him. That's how this... don't listen to me because I have a microphone in front of my face. Don't listen to me. Go do your own homework. But go look up those 10 points that Stacey Abrams talked about in the first hour of the show. That's exactly point by point, step by step, what autocrats do to take power, to include rig their own free and fair elections, like he did in 2016 and again in 2024. Like I believe he did in 2016 and again in 2024. Mark my words, both those dates will come out. Neil Thompson wants to know, how about Elise Stefanik? I didn't get to see the whole thing yet. That's coming. We're going to talk about that too. I would rather talk about some of these things after the fact and get it right and accurate than be the first one to break a story, then fuck it up. But she's actually on the list. So thank you for that, Neil. Also, October SNL premiere cannot come fast enough. Oh, I know. I know. So my Saturday Night Live story. Do you remember the episode where Hillary was on SNL with Amy Poehler? They were both dressed in the same dress. And it was the one where Amy borrowed Hillary's earrings. And then they made the joke about how Hillary laughs and Amy laughed like her. And do I sound like that? Well, yeah. And everybody, I was 10 feet to Hillary's left, just off camera when that was shot. And that same episode, Saturday Night Live, when they do a political commentary or a social one, maybe they exaggerate some of it a little bit for comedy purposes, sure. But the basic story about what they're talking about could not be more accurate. That's why, and this is a stat that's actually not true, but it's why people were believing that other people and their main source of news were comedians. Stephen Colbert, John Oliver, Jon Stewart, and Saturday Night Live. In addition to Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, et cetera, et cetera. Because they don't care. Sure, they're probably all a little bit left-leaning, or a lot left-leaning. Doesn't make them liars, like Donald Trump is, and like Truth Social is. Look, when somebody says to you, well, to be honest, Neil, blah, 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 whatever. The moment they say, to be honest, tune out, you're done. Because the next thing coming is a big, fat lie. Truth Social. It's not about the truth. It's right-wing propaganda. It's not about being social unless, of course, you support the right-wing propaganda. And I'm not saying that that doesn't exist on the left also. It does. MSNBC, Brian Tyler Cohen, so on. But at least they're accurate. Or at least a little accurate. Or at least try to be accurate. Sure, My thing about BTC is he likes his clickbait. Devastating, in all capitals, news for Trump. And I watched the video and I go, the fuck was the news? And if I can't even pick it up, how is it so devastating? Maybe it's a ploy for me to get to watch the video twice. I don't know. But that same night that I was on Saturday Night Live, that same night that I was not on Saturday Night Live, the cold opener for that one was the debate scene. Amy Poehler, and I think that was when they had Barack Obama. Do you remember when they actually had the white guy in blackface for a very short time? Because that was the only one they had to do a Barack Obama impersonation, was a dude in blackface. There was the debate mock-up, like, I don't know, Chris Matthews or whoever. And they would ask this real tough question to Amy Poehler's Hillary Clinton. And she would nail it. And then they'd say, well, then how about this? And she would nail that. And then they turn to whoever the Barack Obama was, and they say, Senator Obama. And he would just like, that's right, hope, and say something stupid. And everybody would clap, and it would go right back to Hillary. And finally, she's calling him out and saying, this is bullshit. When are you going to ask him a real question? And you hear this ding, ding, like from Law and Order, Criminal Intent. And out comes Pyle, the actor who played Pyle from Full Metal Jacket, but also played one of the two lead detectives from Criminal Intent, Vincent D'Onofrio, whose dressing room was right beside of Hillary's. So I got to talk to him all night. Cool dude. Oh, what an awesome dude. Really chilled, laid back, just let's sit around and shoot the shit. I mean, dude's a celebrity. Movie, TV star. You know who Vincent D'Onofrio is. Fuck that, let's just talk. That was so awesome. But he comes out, spins around Amy Poehler's chair, gets up in her face, and she forgot that was going to happen, so she starts laughing. You think this is funny? Is this some sort of joke to you? And he starts like really interrogating her, and then he turns, looks at the audience, and goes, live from New York, it's Saturday night. And that was probably one of the coolest, but also very true to how the actual debates were going. Hillary was real Hillary was getting all these tough questions and nailing them. And a younger Barack Obama, who grew on all of us, was fucking shut up and was getting applause for it. Kind of showing you who the media was supporting all along. That gets to my biggest critique of Hillary as a political scientist and historian. I believe her failure, if any, was that she could have better managed her reputation. And I think that's why so many people were against her when they should have been very much for her. So I got a lot of other comments I got to get through here before we... Ken does not play World of Warcraft. I don't either. I don't know what XMB meant by that, unless he just was presuming or whatever. Don't know. Slowing down on the coffee. Yeah, Mom. I'll do it. I'll get there. I tried picking up on the protein shakes earlier, and that just never picked up. Emma Online, welcome. just hello to you too. Thanks we're wrapping up now. In fact, we should be gone 20 minutes ago, but we'll be back tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific. We recommend worldtimebuddy.com. I'm in Tampa, just, Tampa, Miami, East Coast, 11 a.m. on the East Coast. Use worldtimebuddy.com to figure it out for wherever you are in the world. Superfan Kent, or the term to be transparent, just tune out to the lie. Yeah, particularly that. I'm also not a big fan of catchphrases. Let's be clear. That's another one. Or Gavin Newsom does this one all the time. This needs to end. Full stop. Stop with the full stop. It drives me nuts. Hey, you too, Greg. Good to see you. Love you guys. We got to catch up. Greg's needs to jump off of Instagram. What else here? Then I got to jump too. I'm going to start calling this segment Yerg's After Air Special Episodes. Yeah, like the after show of the Howard Stern show. Yeah, I don't do this often. It's just that I wanted to get through these chats because I did see that there were somebody more than just Superfan Ken. But we definitely love Superfan Ken because he always reminds us, and is a huge supporter, but also reminds us to like, share, subscribe, comment, bookmark. Remember, what he's talking about there, bookmark Mastiff.media and even Yergs.com, because when all these other social media platforms are taken out from underneath me because of T-Rump having his pussy hurting and panties in a wad, they won't be able to shut me up. And you'll still be able to find me. We also have news released from there, a blog and news post, our affiliates and other stations. The Dare Media Group is there. Our socials are there, those that do still work. And some of the other platforms like Chatter, Biz Growth Collective. I'm going to start doing better with being on them too. So check them all out. Bookmark, tell a friend, have the conversation. We need to do this as a society. We need to do this as one country, not as red and blue, not as right and left, but as American. The end. And with that, that will be the end. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for getting off the porch and running with the big dogs and going straight up the middle. Appreciate everything you guys do. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you tomorrow.